Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we're looking at the National Academy's allowable levels of copper in drinking water should not be increased until studies are done. This is an opinion piece, but it has some interesting ideas. So what are they saying? The federal government should not increase the maximum level of copper allowed in drinking water, because higher levels could lead to liver poisoning in infants and children with certain genetic disorders, according to a new report from the National Academy's National Research Council. Instead, the government should conduct studies on health effects of copper in sensitive populations. The committee that wrote the report urged, under the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Environmental Protection Agency is required to establish concentrations of contaminants that are permitted in public drinking water supplies. The EPA has set a goal for copper at a maximum allowable level of 1.3 milligram per liter of drinking water to protect against short-term gastrointestinal tract problems. However, some states, such as Nebraska and Delaware, have difficulty maintaining copper levels below this goal. Because some recent population studies have reported no adverse health effects from ingesting copper at higher concentrations, questions have been raised about the validity of the science on which the EPA based its goal for drinking water. Some people believe that the goal might be unnecessarily low, and others believe that some individuals might get sick from copper levels below the EPA's current goal. In response to these concerns, Congress asked the Research Council for an independent review of scientific and technical basis for the EPA's goal for copper in drinking water. Too much copper can cause several health problems, the committee said. Excessive doses can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Long-term exposure can lead to copper poisoning, especially in people whose bodies have trouble regulating copper because of certain genetic disorders or illnesses, such as Wilson's disease, or it would add young children. Severe cases of copper poisoning have led to anemia, liver poisoning, and kidney failure. We reviewed a wide range of data on exposure to copper from both food and water conducted and concluded that the EPA's current level protects sensitive individuals from the acute effects of excess copper, said Committee Chair Richard Bull. Senior Staff Scientist, Battelle Pacific Northwest Division, Richard Wash. We assume that this level is protect people with chronic disease as well. We need more information about the total copper doses received from drinking water, along with a better idea of how many people are sensitive to copper and what happens to them when they're exposed. Once the information has been gathered, the current level should be reevaluated. We don't know enough to change it right now, but if it's raised, there may be harm done to children with a defective gene. In the past, people with Wilson's disease, which is caused by a defect in a gene that is important in eliminating excess copper from the body, were considered such a small and specific portion of the population that it's thought best to protect them by limiting their copper intake individually. However, new evidence suggests that brothers and sisters of people with Wilson's disease may also be at risk, even if they do not have the disease themselves. This in turn suggests carriers. People with a copy of one defective gene could also be at risk. Children who carry the gene would be at particular risk because of their consumption of water is greater than adults in proportion to their size. Although Wilson's disease is found in only 1 out of 40,000 people in the United States, the committee believes that as much as 1% of the population may carry the gene for disease, but there is no test available yet to identify individuals that could be a risk. Copper is an essential mineral nutrient found in soils and plants, and most copper contamination in drinking water is the result of corrosion of copper pipes or fittings. And corrosion can occur from water that's high in acidity, high in temperature, and corrosion can be caused by water that's soft, free of magnesium or calcium salts. And in the 1989 Institute of Medicine, estimated adults could safely ingest 1.5 to 3 milligrams of dietary copper per day, and infants could consume 0.4 to 2.6 milligrams. Now, this was funded by the EPA, and it's definitely an interesting opinion. Definitely say that whether or not the levels of allowed copper are increased, it's always a good idea to periodically test your water for high levels of copper.